Sharing services, obviously, a classic area potentially for how money can be saved. 3 examples I'll just mention briefly. The South London boroughs have grouped together to form a partnership board, London Libraries, and then what is a national scheme, but as it applies to London, Transforming Community Equipment Services. The South London Partnership has spent quite considerable effort looking at how to share back offices, importantly, looking at how potentially to have a single platform for revenue and benefits, and importantly, potentially again, how to have one ICT platform for 8 local authorities. All this work is very much work in hand, and I think anybody who suggests creating shared services across local authorities is quick and easy is probably misguided. But over time, with a great encouragement that money won't be there in 3 or 4 years' time, then it can be achieved as long as there is political as well as managerial commitment. London library changes, again, a tremendous amount of momentum. You know, there are hundreds of libraries across London, operated by up to 30 different organisations, all with their own procurement systems, all with their own back office systems. This library change programme is very much saying, at the end of the day, when members of the public borrow a book, are they really expecting a different provision of how that book's arrived in one borough as opposed to another borough, and therefore looking at actually having a common platform for procuring books, handling requests, and actually sharing management and sharing best practice. We believe there is huge opportunity for efficiencies across libraries in a tighter public realm. I think people much prefer the money spent on books and IT provision as opposed to bureaucratic processes spread across 32 authorities. The Transforming Community Equipment Services is a national scheme. Again, I think this is tremendously ideal. At the moment, we spend money with our own warehouses delivering disability equipment to clients. This scheme envisages actually issuing clients with vouchers, and then they can collect or have delivered their own equipment from Boots, other retailers and other suppliers. This actually, in my opinion, is the way the public services can actually save money by making use of not just simply their own infrastructure, but the infrastructure that exists in the whole country. This shared services is making sure that London does it in the same way across London. This particular graph I put up because it shows the type of governance that Capital Ambition has expected all projects to be run to, with actually clear project management, clear articulated business plans saying how the project manager is going to be paid for, how much cost, and then importantly, where's the payback, which is then regularly monitored on a quarterly payback. I think this has enabled London's Capital Ambition to deliver genuine savings because there is a rigour. It isn't a particularly fluffy arrangement, it is quite hard-nosed, and if people don't deliver, then any pump priming is ended and given to other people. I think an area of great interest is what we call strategic supplier initiatives. The London Fire Service has played a key role in sponsoring this and launching it. And this is where local authorities often actually have contracts with a supplier, but often those efficiencies that could combine are not shared. So if you take waste or care services, then you can find that actually an authority's arrangements with a particular supplier are quite different to another authority's arrangements. And they're effectively, you may have one supplier serving 20 authorities, but there are no efficiencies, in fact, from having 20 authorities. And this is basically a complex arrangement where there are senior negotiations between the client and the authorities that they serve, but effectively with independent facilitators, looking at how can there be win-win situations. How can procedures, how can processes be streamlined so there is a common efficiency that can be shared both with the supplier and with the local authorities. And these discussions and debates so far have been very productive. There is now a clear work programme that can deliver savings and will deliver savings that actually both provide sustainability for local authorities, but importantly provide sustainability for the suppliers. Because at a point, you can squeeze a private sector supplier, but they will either then drop their standard of services or go bust or withdraw from the market. This is an opportunity for actually giving more profitability to those suppliers and actually enabling the market to remain buoyant. I've been talking a lot about shared services, and I think you can gather from that Capital Ambition believes shared services can deliver material savings, and therefore it is worth investing time and effort in it. I think, however, it is worth reminding ourselves there are other ways to create efficiencies. If one looks at the new unitaries, in some senses, that sort of cuts through quite a lot of complex arrangements because they are simply mergers under a single leadership. I think in the coming years, it'll be interesting to see what pressure there will be on the public sector to actually combine, unite, and have singly led organisations, potentially with a broader remit than they have. If you take revenue and customs, there may be mixed views within the organisation, but undoubtedly by merging two government departments, that has enabled considerable economies of scale to be created and good exchange of experience generated over many decades. I think also, although not perfect, and it does come with downsides, actually the private sector, I think, does have a role to play. We can work very hard together to create shared services, but actually simply a properly coordinated outsourcing to the private sector can be a shortcut to gaining those efficiencies. So I think although we should place emphasis on working hard together to create shared services, sharing knowledge, working with suppliers, I don't think the public sector should close its mind to other routes, and I'm sure the urgency of the public sector funding rounds will make sure that we are concentrated on finding the shortest routes to saving money whilst increasing the quality and maintaining the quality of services to our public. Thank you.